Hey, Brad. Two questions for you. First, we discussed communication a lot with you this week, and you talked about how good it was, all the communication going on between the coaches and players. So, is there a moment in tonight's game that you thought was a good reflection of the benefits of that communication?
Yeah, I
And
think.
two, how weird was it to play in an empty stadium as big as this?
Yeah, and going back to the first part in terms of the communication, when I had said the communication was there, it wasn't just talking to talk and just being able to talk on the field and that sort of thing. It was talking about sequences and plays that happen in scrimmages and in training. And tonight, I think you saw, especially that there were times when we had excellent sequence of play and build up from back to front. Of course, it wasn't perfect for the entire game, but we knew it wasn't going to be, and we knew there were going to be times when we had to react in a positive way to make sure we had to put out some fires and defend and do all of those things that Nashville's entitled to have the ball as well. We definitely need to be a bit cleaner with the ball, myself included, and that's going to come. But I thought when I talk about the communication a couple days ago, I think you look at the spacing of players, the roles of players, of the expectation of where players are going to be, and that's down to the communication in the training habits that we've been working on for the last 3 weeks. I just watched the first goal back. The first touch from Pitty, the ball from Eric, the first touch from Pitty is fantastic, and then he obviously, with a bit of magic, goes and puts in the back of the net. So these are little things that will ultimately make a big difference. And so this is, tonight is one step in the right direction. And we know we have to get better. Like I said, it wasn't perfect, but it certainly was a positive night for us. And in terms of playing at an empty Benz, it certainly had a strange feeling to it. We missed our fans tremendously. I think they know what they mean to us. We certainly know what they mean to us. And so to be in this stadium and not have that, it's never happened. And so now when it has happened for the first time, it was certainly different. But we know that they're with us from start to finish, and hopefully it won't be too long before we're able to have them back cheering us on in person.
Felipe, next question. Go ahead. Your line's open.
Good evening, Brad. Congratulations on the win. Two questions for you as well. You mentioned that the spacing was a lot better tonight. The back four, like a back four, back three at times, but structurally the shape was pretty good. I mean, throughout the night, like you said, you guys can probably clean some stuff up. Can you just talk about that? Just staying tight, staying compact, but also being aggressive. And then just talk a little bit about Eric Rometti tonight, his play. The importance of having a player like that can play in that position.
Yeah, going back again to the first part in terms of the spacing, it comes down to discipline. It comes down to guys trusting what we're doing, trusting what we've been working on in training, trusting what Glassy and his staff are giving us, the information they're giving us, believing in each other to be confident to play out of tight situations and be able to then ultimately attack. And I think there were a handful of times, especially down George Bellows' side, where we started the play on the right side of the pitch, and next thing you know, we're springing a pass to George Bellow that's either running towards the box or running into their box and getting a cross off or a pass or whatever it may be. So, those types of sequences, those are things that we're going to hopefully get more of. That stuff will come. And in terms of Eric's play, I mean, what we're asking of our six, whether we're playing with one or two or, for him to be able to dictate the tempo of the game at times, to drop in between the two center backs, get the ball, keep the ball ticking over, but then ultimately you see his quality for the first goal with the ball to Pitty. So I thought he was tremendous. It's sometimes it's not the most glorious work that he's got to put in, but it's a hard shift. It's hard work to drop in, to push up, to squeeze up the field, and it's not always easy. But tonight he was fantastic.
Joe Patrick, go ahead, line's open.
Hey, Brad. I know that you guys as athletes, you want to keep an even keel. You're not going to get too high after one game. But how important was it to get a result here tonight? Because after everything that happened in Orlando, it just seems like it would have been pretty devastating to not get the 3 points here. How big was it for you?
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. We talked about before the game, nothing less than 3 points was going to be good enough coming into the locker room after 90 minutes. So that part was huge. We knew it was going to be a hard game. There's no easy games in this league. And so we knew that we had to be on the front foot. We knew we had to try and get the first goal. And as they say, goals change games. But to be able to get the first goal, to then be disciplined and not just get careless and reckless and still be still trying to play how we want to play and defend the 1-0 lead for most of the second half till ultimately, he seals it with the second goal. That part was encouraging for me. I think you've seen at times us be a bit vulnerable, whether we score first, whether it's 0-0 and we concede. So to be able to defend a 1-0 lead, that in itself is progress. And so we have to make sure, like I said at the beginning, we continue to build on this and continue to move in a positive direction.
Jonathan Segal, MLS Soccer, go ahead.
Hi, Brad. We've heard others, of course, in their post-game press conferences speak towards the work rate of the group tonight. Seems like commitment, buy-in, work rate were common phrases. What did you see in that regard from the team? Because others, like I said, have highlighted it pretty extensively.
Yeah, I mean, we want to be a team that, is in your face, high pressing, high tempo, and an exciting team to watch for our fans. And so with that comes hard work. And you don't just get to turn up on a match day and think you're going to do it. You've got to put the work in training day in and day out to make sure we're as fit as possible, to make sure that if somebody goes down, the next guy steps up and he carries on. The level doesn't drop. And tonight we showed that. It wasn't great in terms of on the ball at times throughout the game, but the one thing that we can control is our work rate and our commitment and our togetherness. Those are things that we can control. And I think you saw that. You certainly saw that in the locker room after the game. It's a good feeling to win games, and we're a club that is used to winning games, and we haven't had that feeling for quite some time, albeit because of obviously the circumstances that we all find ourselves in. But we certainly didn't have that in Orlando. So now to get back to having that feeling, it's a good feeling to have.
Sorry, I was muted. Last question, Jared Smith, your line's open, go ahead.
Hey, congratulations on the win and the clean sheet, Brad. You had a couple of young players back there with you still. I know Bello's still just a kid, and you talk about guys need to be a little bit cleaner on the ball and finding themselves. But you talk about the growth that he's shown, and even a guy like Walks, who you saw in the inaugural year, who went away for a couple of years and came back, and just the different player he is on that back line.
Yeah, I said to George after the game, I said this is the type of performance that he needs to build on. The thing with George is we know he's athletic. We know he's got the ability. He's got the talent. But now he needs to start to develop the understanding of the game and what's happening in the game and how to manage certain situations that he sees in a game that he comes up against. And so, tonight was close to a complete performance for him. And so I was extremely pleased for him because, there have been times in training when he does something unbelievable and he's fantastic, and then the next day it's not that. And so being able to see the performance out of him tonight from start to finish was tremendous. And same thing with Anton. Being able to come back to this club, the first couple months obviously not really finding a whole lot of minutes. but then to step in and to be a left center back with, who's right-footed, it takes some guts, because you have to be brave. You have to be willing to have the ball at your feet and find passes. So that part was excellent from him. He's somebody that has learned a lot since he, that first year to now come back. He's matured as a player, matured as a person. So yeah, extremely pleased for the two of them.
All right, thanks a lot, Brad, and thanks again, everyone, for your patience today.
Good job, Winks.
Today's press conference. Hope the bus is still there for you, Brad.
Excellent, Winks. Otherwise, you'll drive me, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.